Dominic Boyang, welcome to another episode review. It is season 2, episode 7 of The Walking Dead. Dude, I have to go to sleep soon, so I'm gonna try to do it in a timely manner. Again, hope you guys are doing well. It is I'm gonna start with Rick sad because again we just found out that Lloyd was pregnant and she tried to abort the baby, so I would be sad too, right? Um, this whole argument of was she right, was she wrong, I don't think it matters. I feel like it matters that the people were affected by it, how the people were affected by it, right? So again, you feel for him. There's a amazing scene where Glenn is torn between. Oh my god, this episode is actually pretty good. We got a scene where there's Maggie on the porch and there's Dale, and they both know the secret. The barn is full of Walker. So Maggie, she's like, "Yo, don't tell them," and Dale is said, "Tell them." So ultimately it's a choice of Glenn, and I respect Dale for saying that. Now, would Dale say it if Glenn didn't? Who knows? We got a Maggie who's nodding no from afar. Glenn see that, he look at Dale, he's nodding yes. He decides to tell the group, and the group it freaks out. They're like, "Yo, they're dangerous, they're dangerous, they're dangerous," and then everybody wants to. The way they freak out, bro, is they're starting to insult each other. They're really starting to you see the break, you see the group break. You see who's following who's loyal to Rick, who's loyal to Shane. Shane's insult Daryl for no fucking reason, which sucks, right? And ultimately, this bit I understand. Understandably, it's a big thing. Like arguably, our show is safe in his house, but the group are intense, right? And we know what happened there near Atlanta, so you understand them why you understand why they're being scared so much. You got the mad at Maggie again. She's mad as she breaks a egg on Glenn head. But fuck, this the scene that's gonna follow is amazing, and that's just like an asshole. That's just Glenn didn't seem like an asshole, but he's not, and the reason he gives her is amazing. Daryl goes to get Sophia because now that they know that they're Walker in the barn, maybe they found it weird that there was no Walker around. But if what if every single Walker that were around here were just picked up by somebody? What if there were more Walker? You just didn't see them because they got captured. You never know, right? Oh my god, you got Daryl, he wants to go to Sophia, but Carol's worried about him, and she's like, "No, don't go, don't go," which is kind of cool because she's like, oh, it's amazing. She, she tells him she's willing to sacrifice her daughter, which is again kind of cool. But Carol is broken, so that really what she wants, or is she doing what she think people want from her? And it's different, right? We got Andrea versus Shane, which is basically again, Delzy warns like, oh, she's becoming this badass. She had sex with Shane. She wants to carry a weapon, and now she's falling. It seems like she's falling in love with, at least admiring Shane. And Dale's like, you don't want to be admiring this guy. This guy's dangerous. This guy's an asshole. You don't know guys like that. I do, and we don't really know why Dale is so against Shane. Like, yeah, sure that Shane's an asshole, but he's warning every single person except for Rick, and Rick is the only person that could stop Shane. So why? Doesn't make a lot of sense, but still. Uh, they fight. Rick and Urshel. Oh, Rick and Urshel. Ricky's going to talk about how the barn is not safe, and Urshel's like, "Yo, my barn, my barn, my rules," which it makes sense, right? And it's odd, bro. It's really odd because guess what? At the end of the day, Urshel is right, but then you understand Rick and you want Rick to have his point of view because you understand that his point of view is the correct one. So you don't know for who to root per se, but you still understand that no matter what, somebody's gonna get hurt, right? We have Dale again, he warns Andrea, Shane, Urshel become hostile, and he kicks out Rick. And it's funny because the next episode, he does the same thing with kicking out the group. Rick is like, "Yo, you have to leave. You have to leave. You don't respect you don't respect what I'm saying. You don't respect my rules. So you're out of here." Rick asks, the cool scene between Rick who asks for safety. He's like, yo, and Ricky drops a bomb on Urshel and he's like, yo, Lori's pregnant, right? And he's like, if you that that pregnancy, and again, this is kind of where Ricky crosses the line a bit. You know that Urshel is very religious, so it's like out there, if you, it's a death sentence for the baby, but if you let her stay here, it's a blessing. The baby means life. It's a hope, right? So it's kind of like shitty, right? We tell the outdoor how horrible it is because again, Urshel doesn't know the outdoor is horrible, so it makes sense, right? It makes sense that he's like that. Then Rick storms out because I understand that he won't do what's right. We finally have the talk with between Rick and Shane, and Rick is like, "What should we do?" Well, Shane is like, "Well, if they won't let us live here, we need this place. We need this place. We might be having to commandeer it." At first, he's talking about leaving, but then it quickly switched to commandeer the farm. And what's inside just kicking Urshel out, which sucks. But hey, the needs of the many versus the need of the few, right? Between that, we got, and it's kind of cool because it's amazing actually. You got Shane who's talking about taking people out, and on the same time, we're talking about Maggie. And Maggie, she does what Rick couldn't do. She talks about forgiving. She talks about acceptance. She's talking about things from the Bible, how Urshel was this many. He was this person who was righteous. He wanted to save people. He had a chance to save people, but he didn't want to save them. But you understand Urshel because Urshel, ultimately, he trusts Rick. He doesn't trust other people, right? And it does make fucking sense because Rick is more sensitive than Shane. I had to do it. I got fidgety hand. What can I say? Maggie would plead with Dad, talk about the Bible. She tells him about the attack and how Glenn saved her. And ultimately, it's gonna play a part because little spoiler here. Ultimately, Urshel gonna say everybody can leave. Glenn can stay if he wants because my daughter loves him, which is kind of sweet. Uh, she tells him about the attack and how it wasn't human. He doesn't understand because he wasn't seeing it, right? How she hold Glenn, and it's funny because Urshel hates Glenn. He always call him the Asian boy, and she's like, "That is Glenn. I love him." She didn't say I love him, but you know what I mean, right? We got the attack. Save him. Urshel asked Rick. Oh, yo. So he's like, I think Urshel, this fantastic moment where Jimmy, which is the son, he comes and asks Urshel to help. He said it happened again. They found some walker, and he tells Rick to help him to earn his keep. And ultimately, what Urshel is trying to do is teach Rick that they're human, that they can be reasoned with, that they're not that dangerous, right? There's only two of them, and that's why we're seeing like, yo, ultimately this is it, right? So I fucking love this. We got Save Walker. Shane says Shane and Lordy fight. Shane he said that he's a better leader, and that's when the cookies start to crumble. Shane believes a better leader, sure, and ultimately he does believe that for a while, but he doesn't say it. He doesn't. He let Rick run because he loves Rick like a brother. So then he tells Lori he's a better person. He's a better leader. Ultimately, a better leader, yes. And he's like, dude, guess what? If it was me, we wouldn't be looking for Sophia because she's dead. Ricky he puts in everybody in danger for one person we know is better, right? And then he starts saying, and then that's when he crosses the line. He said, "I'm a better father," and then Lori said, "You'll never be the father. Ricky's gonna be the father. Even if the baby is yours, you'll never be the father." So when you think about what pushed Shane to the edge, that's one of the moments, right? Ultimately, he does care about Lori, and although I think at this point he doesn't love Lori anymore, he still cares about her and about Carl's, right? Carl, you want to stay? Carl, he wants to stay, and he asks Shane. He tells Shane, "We'll do whatever we want. We'll do whatever we have to stay." And he's actually agreeing with Shane. And that might be why Laurie's afraid of losing Carl because he's becoming a Shane and not like Rick. Carl is being like he's being a good boy. He's being caring. Shane, you can see that Shane loves him, right? Shane he really loves Carl and he's caring about Carl. Shane he wants to get the weapon to make sure that we're safe. But that Dale, knowing that Shane would come after the weapon, he went off to hide the weapon. Uh, Dude, it's a great episode. Urshel he knows that Rick he knew the Walker, um, right? Urshel he knows Rick, and then he tells he knows that Rick can be reasoned with. So he said, "Oh, I knew the Walker." He tells them, "Yo, I knew them." You check a deal with Rick, right? That if they're helping us with reaching the with helping the Walker and putting them in a barn, it might strike a deal, right? Daryl and Carol's are about to give up when they find Cherokee, Rose Cherokee from the last season. And you can kind of see that, okay, they're having hope. And it's a symbol of hope. And ultimately, it is a symbol of the friendship and relationship. It's never clear if Daryl and Carol had a love interest. It's never clear, but hey. Um, the show capture Maggie. Oh my god. Yeah, she's mad about Glenn, and she's mad about Glenn saying, and Glenn said something beautiful. He said, "I'm afraid you were right. They're dangerous. I realized that when this person attacked you, bro." I was fucking tearing up at work, bro, because I was watching this at work, and he was saying like, yesterday you could have got killed by Walker. I'm never gonna say that. Yes, I told them the truth about the Walker, but it was to protect you. And then he said, I realized how dangerous they are. You're right. I was a bait. I was bait for. And Maggie started calling him Walker bait, which is insane. I should be playing with Keith, but I'm fishy, and especially it helps me keep to stay awake. You know. So that's what I have to do. It's what I have to do. We got the Glenn is now worried and say he told like Maggie exactly. They kiss again. Shane and Dale they fight about the guns. How and the two of them are right. Shane is like, yo, we need that to protect, but Dale is also right. Like, yo, we should trust them. We shouldn't be in a position where we have to defend ourselves. We're in safety of our farm, right? We could be more dangerous. Taking a risk and not having gun to stay here longer is better than just taking the gun and being kicked out, right? And Dale doesn't technically know that Shane is planning to kick out the Greens, so it makes sense. They fight to protect to about gun. Dale Dale points his finger at Shane, and Dale says, "You don't have the guts. You don't even have what it takes to do it." There's a scene previously that I talked about how Shane tells Dale, "I could have killed Rick and he's my best friend. I love him like a brother. I don't even like you. What am I gonna do with you?" Right. So that's kind of fucking crazy. We tell him he tells Shane that he's chaos and that he's gonna bring destruction everywhere he goes, and ultimately he's right. He's right. Like Shane, although he tries to do the best, he's chaotic, and there's danger to being chaotic like that. Um, Q Chief gives gun, right? Then they fight Shane, Stream, Urshel. What? Wait a sec. Then ultimately he gives the gun to yes. Technically, ultimately Shane gives the gun to Dale. No, Dale give the gun to Shane. Then they go back to camp. You've seen Rick carrying a walker, and then Shane is mad at him. He screams at Urshel, "They're not alive. They're not alive." Then he shoots the walker in the body like 3 times, and ultimately it does serve a message to Urshel. It's like, yo, it's proving them they're not human. No human could talk about that. And then he shoot him, and then he opened the barn, and by opening the barn they start killing everybody, and he's shocked because in there we know there's a mother and a step brother, right? So it's kind of crazy because again, like this is a moment that was supposed to happen. Like if it wasn't happening, Ursula would have never seen it. And then out at the end, what do we see from the barn? We're seeing Sophia. She was there all along, and ultimately it makes sense because Otis, he didn't know Sophia, and the only reason why the group didn't tell them, the group didn't tell the Green didn't tell the survivor, it was because Otis didn't say, and Otis is dead. So ultimately, it makes sense. Sophia was there the whole time. They lost time. They took risk, and now they killed the whole barn. And it's gonna be at the end. We're gonna see what is the impact of that. What is the impact of having? And what's the beautiful thing about this episode is they kill countless Walker. Right? Some of those Walker, the Greens knew, and then when it comes time to kill the one Walker they knew, which was Sophia, it was hard to imagine how the Green felt. So again, beautiful episode, a lot going on here. Solid episode. I not the best of the season 2, but still a pretty solid episode. As always, I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.